He's unable to clear it. Here's a chance. Bending ball, and that one sneaks its way through. And Aveyavu has a brace in the game.
Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Afterburn Soccer Show with a good time to talk about a fantastic goal from Hope Aveyavu, leading to his brace in otherwise a disappointing result for North Texas Soccer Club. My name is Nathan Hill. You can follow me on Twitter at Nathan J. Hill, and we're here with our buddy Tommy LaBeouf here, getting situated. You can follow him at Tom_FC Dallas. And we should be joined by Jose Carmona, or as we call him, Chico, but he's having some technical issues. It's just been technical issues at times for us here as we've adjusted. Oh, in fact, here comes the man right now. Yeah, we can hear you, Jose.
Awesome.
All right, well, good. We get all situated here in our three-way conversation today. We just opened with the Hope Aveyavu Golazo, beautiful goal on his brace for the day. But then, of course, North Texas goes on. This is in the afternoon game before the evening cap. Tyshawn Rose gets a second yellow quite quickly after his first yellow. And then North Texas goes down to 10 men, and then Rapids who just pounce and score 4 goals against North Texas. It was a very disappointing collapse. We'll hear from Coach Cano here in a moment. And then meanwhile, FC Dallas played at Minnesota for the evening game, closing out a week of action, Major League Soccer action. And while it wasn't the most exciting match in the world, FC Dallas kept a clean sheet, a 0-0 draw, a vital away point, a little bit of revenge for what Minnesota did to FC Dallas on the opening season match in Frisco, stealing 3 points in Dallas's own house. So let's just start with the Dallas result. I know a 0-0 draw is not ever the most exciting thing for a soccer fan, an FC Dallas fan to come away with, and yet an away point is always pretty important in this league. Pretty good to get if you can in this league. Just your reactions from the match, Tommy.
It wasn't pretty. Let's start with the bright side. We got a point on the road. We had a clean sheet. Yes, yay. If you watch the game, it wasn't fun to watch. I mean, we're very lucky Minnesota can't finish because they had quite a few shots in front of the goal that just, they went wide right or wide left, whatever. It was horrible finishing. But our defense was pretty suspect. The whole game, everywhere you looked, in my opinion, it was just not good enough. Whether it was Jesus having that one-on-one with the keeper, it was just not good enough. It wasn't USA level finishing, and he can do better, and he'll be the first one to say that. But even the midfield, we looked slow. We were not winning the open balls. If you give one thing to the Minnesota, they were bigger, they were faster, they were getting to the balls. It just wasn't very pretty. You can take the positive. We got the point, but not every team is going to kick them wide left like that. And I think that there's still hope. I mean, we're still in 4th place, and we have the summer window. Hopefully, one player can make a difference. We didn't have Velasco. He can make a difference. One goal can make a difference in this game, right? We could be changing our tune, right? If Jesus finishes it, or if Velasco was here and got an assist, it would be 1-0. We come home winning. Hey, we won the game. We might have a different opinion, but I think it's black and white. This team is not playing well right now.
And allow me to disagree with Tommy 100%. First of all, any point on the road, in particular against a team that just beat you at your own home, is a good result. Also, we didn't have Farfan out there, so we got to see what Hunqua had to offer.
I liked it. I liked what he did.
No Alan Velasco. I mean, and frankly, whenever Minnesota did get a shot on goal, Paz was more than up for it. So, and mind you, we had as far as us fans are concerned, probably the worst backline pairing out there, Martinez and Ibeaga. So, I mean,
Yes.
no Farfan, no Nkosi Tafari out there, and I think you have to be pretty happy with the result. I think what fans are upset about is that the team didn't look like it was playing to win. That's the team seemed to be happy to let things go stale, and they were happy to just let Minnesota
Mm.
flail without doing anything because Minnesota may have looked bigger or stronger, but they still look like a team that should be happy with a draw at home.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I think that's fair.
and and you know, let's face it, I still remember the times when this team used to be horrible on the road. And it, I don't have a problem with Dallas playing this way on the road. Now, if they play like this way at home, I have a problem with that. So I can't be upset with this. We got to see what Farfan's backup could do. He handled it well. Great, great, great news for Farfan, who deserves more rest than he's gotten these past 2 seasons. So I'm happy to see that his backup can come in and give him the rest he needs. I can't be too upset with the result. I do wish the team had done more. Um, my concerns are with like Tommy said, the lack of finishing. If you're going to play this way, you have to absolutely make the opponent pay when you get a shot uh, at their goalkeeper, and the team simply failed to do that. And I think that's
Yeah.
the only thing I agree with Tommy on is that Ferreira needs to do better there. And we have to start getting a little concerned with Jesus Jimenez, who, frankly, I mean, he's doing some things nice, but he's not scoring, so that's a concern. I don't want to blame it all just on Ferreira. I'm just saying that the attack looks a
Um,
little disjointed.
well, I want to make sure I'm not blaming Ferreira at all. I said he could have done better on the
Yes. Oh
finishing,
yeah, yeah. The
but
attack could have done better.
Ferreira's results in the game depend a lot on his service, right? And I got to be honest with you, I don't think Ariola's playing very well. Leggett looks slow. O'Brien was on the left wing. I don't think he did much last night. And actually, I think O'Brien has played better than Ariola to this point. And Paxton is not in the final third. I don't think he's been a difference maker. And so that all plays into Ferreira's success and not success, right? So no way am I blaming Ferreira on the game, but I said he should have done better there. At least get a shot off, right?
Yeah, I think, like I said, that the attack is disjointed. It looks disjointed. So
Yep.
I think there's a little bit of blame to sprinkle across the board. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, absolutely correct. Paxton. I mean, he's getting banged up, beat on, and you have to think that that's having an effect on him. The opposing teams are doing what they need to disrupt him.
And,
Mm.
and I think with that said, one more thing is that I think we got to give Minnesota some credit on the defensive side. While they were not great attackers, they were strong in defending. And I think the way that maybe they're built, they give Dallas challenge, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
Dallas
a
won't
it's
play
a
like this against, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's a mid to low block team, and those
Yep.
always give FC Dallas problems.
Yeah,
And I think
that's right.
I'm happy to get a point against those type of teams. Hate to see them play against those guys because Dallas is playing like them now. So they're seeing they're seeing what's working against them and saying, hey, maybe we can do that to them too.
I said
And
it earlier.
we as a fans,
I said
I'm
earlier in
saying
the
we as
year
a
that I
fans,
felt. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that because FC Dallas is opting to match those teams' play styles, us fans are the ones that suffer. It's a boring game.
Right.
Mm.
I was going to say a few shows ago before this game, I said the wingers I thought have not played well this year, and including Velasco when it comes to beating people on the edge, getting into the box, dribbling in. I don't feel like the wingers are doing well this year. But on that note, I think Velasco has made some plays where he can dish a man and get a pass in. But as far as in the past we've had wingers that would come in on the sides and pass the ball in the middle. I haven't seen that this year. I feel like the wingers are really been a great C this year.
And to add to that, I think Velasco is
Still
the
20 years
fact
old.
that the fact that I think the fact that Areola and Leggett are struggling on the right side makes it tougher for a kid like Velasco, who's causing some havoc on that side when he can't count on the guys on the other side to pitch in. So I think it makes it easier. The fact that Areola and Leggett are struggling makes it easier for opposing defenses to focus on the guys that are playing well in Velasco and Ferreira and try to shut them down because they're not too concerned about what those guys are doing because those guys are struggling. So I think it makes the team, the attack more one-dimensional.
And this is one of their other iterations of this lineup, especially with Junka coming in, and you're missing Velasco again, giving O'Brien a second straight start. We're just going to see a lot of variations of this team lineup, but especially this month, the really congested month of May for FC Dallas, they're going to have to rotate. So there's a little bit of good technicalness here for Nico to say, let's make sure Velasco gets healthy. Let's get a guy like Sam, back in the starting lineup, get him some minutes. Let's continue to get some guys some minutes and see what we had, because we're going to need these guys down the stretch. We just cannot run our team into the ground. It's going to be a pretty brutal month. Well, let's jump before we move on from this. Let's just hear Nico's post-game response. I was just asking him about, an away point is always tough to get. His thoughts on the match.
Well, as you said, no, it's really important after coming from a loss and having 2 games away in a row, as we had, not conceding another lose and getting something positive and a point, and seeing how difficult it is in this league to on playing away or any game in this league is difficult. And I think the two halves are pretty different, right? I think in the first half we had a really good control on build-up, but we didn't create much chances, and then we lacked on playing deeper. And these crosses that we had, I think some of them it could go on the ground, and others we could be a little bit better and execute it better. I think we did a really good job controlling that side. In the second half, the game opened a little bit. As you know, in this league, they start a little bit of fatigue. The opponent also playing at home opens more, and we found spaces to counterattack and have transition moments that help us to create more dangerous plays that in the first half. I think we were very close to scoring some of them, and the other side, I think. Defensively, we showed some moments where we were very compact and solid, and other moments that it was difficult to stop the attack of the opponent. And I think it's a good learning for us today, and how we can prevent some of the plays that Minnesota created today. In the first half, I think it was more some of our mistakes and giving up the ball in the wrong spaces. In the second half, it was more in transition moments that I think we prevented well. And a couple of them, we did a good job, like letting the opponent be in offside and avoiding that option for them.
There's head coach Nico Estevez on, his thoughts and already kind of seeing him as he's grown in his experience in Major League Soccer, especially as the head coach. Knowing how tough it is to get a clean sheet on the road in any stadium, in any situation, against any team, whether it's there on the bottom of the table or at the top. So taking credit from that. But I love how he just puts his sort of his fingerprints on sort of, how we look at the whole game sometimes and it kind of blends in together. But yeah, like in the first half, the team did seem to be a little more in control of things. And then in the second half, it felt like a different kind of match as Minnesota pushed and as things unfolded, as more space was created, and what that means for a team and how you adjust to that on the fly. So I just think, as you mentioned, Tommy, this team is in fourth place in the West. We've had a lot of other results go our way. It's going to be getting into the really slugfest of the season where it's just going to be a grind. And so every point you earn, home or away, is going to be really vital for the long-term picture. But there's going to be those games where you'll be happy just to go in and see a game out, or see out that 0-0 draw on the road and come away with something, right? Especially in this month of May. So I don't know what it holds. I want Velasco to get healthy. I want Jesus Jimenez to get right. I want us to figure out maybe we have an open door at right back. Maybe even at left back there's going to be competition now. And I think the big question is, as the summer ticks closer, who is that player out there that FC Dallas could potentially, if the right deal comes available, get that new DP in maybe to really help this team take that next step? Is it a midfielder? Is it another attacker? Is it a legit center back? What do you all think?
It's got to be that number 6. I mean, if you look at all our starting lineup, the one area that's still unsettled, between Cirio and he performed okay, but he wasn't great, and his backup's no better. And honestly, of all the spots, we all know it. We've known it for years. We still need that DP number 6 to come in, and while that won't right everything, solidifying your defense and being secure in the back goes a long ways towards making sure that you're a solid playoff squad. Other than that, I'm looking at the schedule and brutal, but you're looking at like 8 matches in like a 28-day span. You're looking at basically a match every 3 or 4 days from the 6th all the way to the 3rd of June. Wow, this team's going to be tested hard, and on the bright side, we'll know once that stretch is over what kind of team we've got for sure, because Nico is going to have to give minutes to a lot. He's going to have to count on Junqua and Jimenez and Tafari and Siki, and these guys are going to be getting minutes, and they're going to have to get starts if he plans to keep this team fresh during this brutal slate up ahead.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we need another center back. I think we need a legitimate center back. We're living with 3, and I feel like Tafari is upcoming, and the other 2 are very old. And Martinez doesn't have pace. I feel like we're living on borrowed time back there in the center back.
Well, I agree. I agree with you, Tommy. And because of this brutal stretch, we may see one of the 2 guys playing for North Texas, be given a shot. So
I think the Open Cup, you're going to see a lot of North Texas reserves. There's no way this 24-man roster can compete in all the leagues. I think that's the right way to go. I mean, you want to see Norris get some minutes, and sure, Endeley, I could see. I'm not going to say all of them, but I could see them giving 4 or 5 guys from North Texas a run out in the U.S. Open Cup. But does that mean this? If they do that, does that mean this team isn't taking it seriously? Because I mean, that's my opinion. Is if you're serious of actually competing for the U.S. Open Cup, then you need to run out at least a partial first team out there, not a team dotted with players that are playing for reserves.
Well, let's use that opportunity of thinking about our reserves to talk about North Texas. And let me just say, for the first 52 minutes of this match, even though the Rapids 2 looked like the top team in the Western Conference of MLS Next Pro, with the amount of attacks and the dangerous looks they were getting, North Texas was in control. They had a 2-0 lead. Tyshawn Rose gets a red card, and well, the Rapids 2 pounce. And it was just a tough situation. And so let's just, before we talk about it, that 4-2 loss in Denver, let's just hear from head coach, North Texas SC head coach Javi Cano after the match.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan. I'm very disappointed, because like I say, we are not so far from Colorado performance. We were 2-0 up, and after this red card, just changed the game, and all the effort we were doing, all the tactics we were creating, so like just get to the trust, because after that we are not mature enough. This was my message to the player. We need to learn that situation. Like we are 2-0 up, and we need to fight for ourselves. Just being one player down, we don't need to concede any single situation. And at the end we concede, and we were very vulnerable on the back of our fullbacks, and they created chances for them.
Cano said that what Rapids 2 did is that they quit right after both outside backs, and especially because Tyshawn Rose is, of course, the starting left back. Malachi moved over, shifted from the midfield into that left back role, and Malachi's a 16-year-old academy kid, and Rapids 2 pounced, and they just overloaded him 2-on-1s, and it was just too much. It was just too much for the youngster. And even, you expect Rapids probably are going to grab a goal, maybe even 2 goals. But so you expect, hey, you're up 2-0 on the road. You at least want a point, right? And then they just give up 4 goals in quite a period of time. It was tough.
Okay, let me talk about the good things that I like. Right up to that red card, though. I actually like that North Texas was being very physical in their approach. Maybe too physical, but they were matching the physicality of the Rapids, and you saw this when Hope got that PK. Um, he I think he kicked the ball to stance or something, so he got a yellow, and then shortly after that, in the next time he touches the ball, he gets taken down hard, and the Colorado player gets yellow. And I think the refs were basically trying to get the match under control, because they were handing out yellows left and right. So you kind of saw that red coming. It was coming, simply because the officials were handing them out left and right, and it's tough, but at the same time, it is an excellent learning experience for a young team to find themselves, up 2-0 on the road with less than friendly officiating, and a good team. Like I said, Colorado is now tops in the West, and it it's tough to get that kind of result on the road, but plenty plenty for Kano to basically um, teach, very coachable moments from this result. So I think it's a match where, on one end, you're disappointed for the loss, but you put an asterisk on it, because it had this team not gone down a man, I think they walk out of there with 3 points. Worst case scenario, they allow Colorado to draw the match. But anyway you slice it, they were going to walk out of there with points, and the red card just changed the whole, like, changed everything. But up to that point, I think the team was looking as solid as it's looked in a long time. It was doing what it needed to do. It wasn't perfect, but it was doing what it needed to do to stay on ahead of a very good team. There's not, like I said, there's like 3 teams ahead of North Texas right now that are playing really well: Colorado, Minnesota United, and Austin. And frankly, like Coach said, none of those teams. Colorado isn't better than North Texas. Minnesota United is not better, and neither is Austin. Really, the top of the West is going to be a toss up, and one of those teams will come out of it, and it's just rough to drop points on the road against
Yeah.
these guys.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting that he said, we're not so far from the Rapids too, and Rapids have some great players. I mean, they have the league leading goal scorer, and he's a good talent. Really interesting. Scored, in this one, and good dynamic player, but really young team, trying to figure things out, learning on the road, learning as they go. And by the way, Tommy, I thought this was interesting in the game because they did. I think their only first team player was Indley, right?
Indley, yeah.
Yeah, and then otherwise they were missing. Norris wasn't on the bench. Corker wasn't there. So I think that was an interesting thing that this team is always going to deal with. I think they could have used those guys. They would have been a little more savvy.
It's always tough at that league. Yeah, players come.
It's the fact that they were. It's the fact that they were traveling to Denver and the team was in Minnesota. So you have to make the decision and say, hey, are we going to make Camongo available? Are we going to get Mulatto available? And the answer is no. So this is going to happen when we have conflicting schedules. And I think taking that into consideration, I think North Texas handled itself well. Like I said, I totally agree with
they're up to 0. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with the manager is that this team isn't. It's a couple of learning several things and learning to perform in situations away from being a top of the table team, and that's the difference. I mean, the teams that they have lost to are not bad teams. I think the only one I thought was a bad loss was Monarchs, but Monarchs turned around and followed up that win against North Texas with a 5-1 win. So there's a team that is turning the corner. So kudos to them, and I would say makes that my one bad loss that I had for them, wipes that out and says, I don't think North Texas has a bad loss. They have some results that they wish could take back, but it's a young team. It's early in the season. They're still learning. If we're still seeing some of these issues, a month from now, then I'd start to worry. But let me add another positive. With Hope Aveyavu out there, this team is just a different beast. You could see it. You can see that he just makes things happen out of nothing, and having that kind of player out there, Aveyavu right now is essentially your team MVP right now.
Right.
And having him healthy and having him on the field, it makes things happen for this team. And I look forward to seeing this team basically, with Hope starting. I think they'll rebound perfectly from this. I'm not too concerned. Like I said, seeing Hope out there and seeing just what a difference he makes. One player, but he makes a massive difference, and I think he's showing you that he's the next guy that should at least get a look with the senior team.
You think for the Open Cup, maybe?
I don't know about that, but at least at the end of the season, because we weren't sure if they were going to try to sign Mulatto or Camongo. So I would say at the conclusion of the season, sure, I'd like to see them give Hope a shot to earn a spot with the senior team.
Yeah, I think he's flashing something, and so it'll be interesting to see how they rate it, how they rate him, and maybe he's at the right level, or maybe they maybe he's like a Ronaldo Damas. He's going to land at the USLC level or something. But
it'd be nice to see him for the senior team to have a legit left winger backing up Velasco. That's. Instead of this flopping and taking right wingers and slapping them over there.
Maybe they're timing this right, because I think we're getting close to the end of Obrion's contract, and so that spot may begin to open up, and then you have a guy that you could bring up. But anyway, that'll be later in the season conversation, and a lot of pieces a part of that.
I don't know. I don't have the for his contract for what he's getting paid. O'Brien, I think it's clear that I don't have a problem with them continuing him.
He's been
Uh,
serviceable.
he's been serviceable. He's getting. I mean, he's getting paid adequately. He's a solid piece off the bench. I'm okay with him
He's a
coming
good
off the
kid
bench
too.
as long,
He's a good
yeah,
kid,
as long
right?
as
I mean, yeah.
and I would prefer that he gets beaten out by Kamango or Andale or one of these kids than them not extending him and then handing the job to someone who's not ready. So he's having his issues, but he's a real pro. He's serviceable, and he has his spots where he can help this squad. And like I said, I'm not looking forward to the end of his contract because he's a good guy. He's not costing the
Yeah,
team too
me
much.
too.
Like I said, let the kids beat him out. If he gets beaten out by Kamungo or someone and drops, then I say okay, then we can let him go. But until that happens, I don't have a problem with him sticking around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, O'Brien had a part of that play that I think that Kumango got his first goal, right? I mean, he had to
Yeah,
cut and he slid it. Yeah, I mean, that was a really nice play. Yeah, so
yeah, we wish to see more of it, but at the same time, like I said, and we'll find out. He's going to get uh, O'Brien's going to be one of the beneficiaries with this stretch coming up, and maybe like I said, maybe some North Texas kids will get minutes, but O'Brien will probably be the biggest beneficiary because he'll be given tons of minutes, especially with Velasco not 100%.
Yeah. Well, and this North Texas team it's doing its role this season. It was interesting because I asked Coach Cano in another part of the conversation just about like, is this where you want to be at this point in the season? Did you think you'd be higher? But he said, of course they want to win, but winning isn't the point, which is a little interesting. I think Coach Kaw wanted to win, and so was less flexible. But I think Cano knows that this is an opportunity. If North Texas is going to fulfill its kind of purpose. Certainly, they want to win. They want to compete. They want to be, in the playoff mix. They want to bring home a title. Every player wants to. That's kind of a given. But to bring along 16-year-old, 17-year-old academy guys, see what you have, to give them a chance to step into the next stage and show if they're ready or not. To show the academy players that you work hard week in and week out, you're going to get this opportunity, and you may get to quickly move up and play competitively against some excellent talent. It's an exciting thing, but you're going to have those growing pains along with that. You're going to have guys having to learn the hard way. If you drop concentration, this is what happens. I mean, Antonio Carrera after the game said that they lost their heads, and those 4 goals came, or at least 3 of the goals came pretty quickly in a 5-10 minute run.
Oh yeah. They came in a bunch. Absolutely.
And so I think he's right on that. The team just sort of is learning those hard lessons of like, what do you do in these situations? And you can't learn it except if you just live it and experience it. That's what soccer and life is about. So interesting stuff to see as this team kind of grows and gels. And it's interesting because of the reserve picture, because it is about keeping guys like Corca and Norris, who I think will have a role to play in the Open Cup and stuff, fit and as possibilities, but it's also about those academy kids who aren't even signed to deals yet, getting a chance to see where they are in their development and what they might offer. So it's interesting to watch them. It's exciting to watch them, and I could see this season going 2 different ways. I mean, I could see this team getting things together and really competing. I could see them kind of stumbling a bit more throughout the season and kind of missing out on some opportunities late, but that doesn't mean it's a failure of a season. So could be very interesting.
No. I mean, you had Molina out there, you had Ursula out there, you got the young kids getting those minutes, and that's priceless. You can't put a price on that. Putting them in situations like that where you're winning and then all of a sudden you're down to 10. Those are real life situations that these kids will need to learn and handle better, especially if they want to be, playing at a higher level. So absolutely, nothing to hang your head on this. You knew once they went down to 10 men. Like I said, the defense hasn't been up to to last season's level, and and being down a man, and like you said, having some young players out there, it was something you could see happening, and hopefully this team learns from it so that the next time they're down to 10, which will happen, it's a long season, it'll happen again. Hopefully they handle it better next time.
Well, I think that's it for the show. I mean, it's a 0-0 draw kind of weekend for FC Dallas. There's not as much to talk about. We're hoping these guys get healthy. It's going to be a crazy May, a wild May, a packed May, a lot of soccer to enjoy. So we'll have a lot to talk about in the coming weeks,
Yeah, we'll have go ahead. I was going to say we're going to have like 2 matches a week to talk about.
Yeah, I was just looking at FC Dallas. They posted 7 hours ago 8 games in the month of May. So 8 games.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a lot. A lot of soccer up ahead. Like I said, we'll know at the end of the month exactly what kind of team we got. Is FC Dallas a top 4 team? Are they still going to be there 8 weeks from now? Are they going to be a U.S. Open Cup contender? And same thing with North Texas. We'll see where they are. Have they rebounded? Are they going to be challenging for a playoff spot? Because like I said, you got 3 pretty hot teams ahead of them, and they're going to have to keep up with them, keep up with Colorado, keep up with Austin, keep up with Minnesota United.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, this weekend back at home against St. Louis FC, our first meeting with St. Louis should be
tough
interesting.
Not going to be easy.
And yet, there's a blueprint for how to beat St. Louis. So there's a blueprint, which will be interesting to see if FC Dallas does, which is give St. Louis possession, and then when they give it up, punish them.
Yeah, St. Louis is a tough team to read. They're near top of the West. We're top of the West for most of the season, and really that kind of confidence that kind of start season instills. That's really tough to overcome for any team. So I think we're going to be facing a confident squad who feels they can come into FC Dallas and walk out with 3 points. It's going to be a combative match. I'm looking forward to it. I'm kind of curious to see how it pans out. I think it'll definitely be a way more exciting match than the one we had this weekend.
It'll be interesting to see Bartlett coming home, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Not coming home. He's from St. Louis, but coming back to Dallas.
I was never surprised that he got picked up by them. I want to say it before they cut him that I fully expected him to land with St. Louis. Although I will say that I expected him to land with their reserve squad, because let's face it, it's an expansion team. They have massive holes to fill, and a player like Bartlett, who, first round pick, played a lot for North Texas. That's a very inviting opponent, kind of player to bring in. And let's face it, we all have our negative things to say about Bartlett, but the reason the team drafted him, the reason FC Dallas drafted him, is because they saw similarities to Tafari. They said, hey, this is a big athletic player. If we can teach him some better mechanics, teach him, how to compensate for his lack of awareness and stuff like that, this is a guy that can be molded into a kind of player that can, step in and help the first team. What didn't happen for Bartlett, but he's had a full season under his professional season, and obviously he picked enough that St. Louis says, hey, yeah. And they've given him a start. They've given him his minutes, and he hasn't hurt them. So kudos to him. Sometimes you just gotta have a little patience with players, but at the same time, he had to be let go, because if you keep him here, then he's basically he's ahead of do you start him ahead of say of Norris once you Open Cup, and the answer is no. You want Norris to get those minutes, and so I'm cheering for Bartlett. I hope he has a successful MLS career. I wish we would have given him more time, but it didn't happen. And
and Johnny Nelson, and Johnny Nelson will be back. It's sad to see that guy go, but you kind of understand he was coming off a tough injury, and you reserve a spot for a guy like that and hope he comes back, or
not the first player that the team has moved on from due to injuries where they said they'd rather not risk it, and then the guy goes on and does well. Mm-hmm. The other guy that had an injury that the team walked away from that we all kind of said, well, that was a waste, was Chala. Chala had an injury, and they opted to basically move away from him quickly, and now the guy's like a former Liga MX champion or something, So same thing, Nelson had an injury, and the team said, no, we're not going to chance it, and moved on from him. And a great player. We knew that once he got healthy, he would help somebody, and that's exactly what has happened.
Well, this is what happens here. When I say it's time to wrap up, and we talk for another 5-10 minutes. But anyway, well, let's leave it there. Good night, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Guys. Of course, subscribe, like, share. Thanks, Tommy. Thanks, Jose.
Thanks, Rev. Thanks, Tommy.